Finwë was the High King of the Noldoran Elves and was born in Cuivanen after the awakening of his people. He was one of the ambassadors to Valinor who urged his people to make the great journey into the west. At the end of the second journey, Finwë dwelt in Tirion, the city of the Eldar in the Undying Lands. As the three kindreds of the Eldar were gathered together in Valinor, Melkor was dwelling in prison, for the Valar had fought against him and defeated him in the war for sake of the Elves. This time was known as the Noontide of the Blessed Realm, and was the fullness of the glory of Valinor. In this time, the Eldar gained their greatest might and power in their bodies and their minds. The Noldor, Finwë's people, grew in skill and knowledge, and there were great projects undertaken during those days. Rúmil of Tirion was a lore master of the Noldor. Rúmil remained in Valinor when the Noldor eventually left the Undying Lands. Rúmil recorded the Ainulindale, or the events before the beginning of the world. He made the Annals of Valinor. These told the history of Aman until the Years of the Sun began. While Rúmil remained in Valinor, the records were continued by an elf named Pengalod. Rúmil was also the first to devise letters and the recording of language. During these glorious times was born in Tirion, the greatest of the sons of Finwë, the High King. He was named Finwë, which translates to Son of Finwë. His mother Míriel called him Fëanor, the spirit of fire. Míriel was called Serinde for her ability in weaving. Míriel and Finwë had great love for one another. Fëanor would bring an unforeseen crisis, although Fëanor could not be blamed for this. Míriel was consumed in her body and spirit by the bearing of Fëanor. She said, "Never again shall I bear child, for strength that would have nourished the life of many has gone forth into Fëanor." Finwë was understandably grief-stricken and depressed by this. Finwë wanted many children to enjoy the quality of life that was to be found in the Undying Lands. Finwë went to Manwë, the High King of the Valar, to seek his counsel. Manwë sent Míriel to Lorien, the land of dreams and rest. At Míriel's parting from Finwë, she made a prophecy. "Hold me blameless in this and in all that may come after." Míriel predicted that the Noontide of Valinor would not last, and that dark times would come from the events surrounding her death. As Míriel seemed to be asleep, her spirit went to the halls of Mandos. The Maiar of the Vala Este weep for her. Finwë saw the body of his wife in the gardens of Lorien, and sat beside her and called to her by name often. Finwë was the only sorrowful elf in all of Valinor during the glory of the Blessed Realm. After a time, Finwë went no longer to Lorien. Finwë gave his care and undying love to the raising of his son. Tolkien writes of Fëanor, "And Fëanor grew swiftly, as if a secret fire were kindled within him. He was tall, fair of face, and masterful, his eyes piercingly bright, and his hair raven dark, in the pursuit of all his purposes, eager and steadfast." Fëanor, however, had many faults. His biggest fault was that he was prideful, and nobody ever changed his mind or opinion. Fëanor was the most skilled in mind and in hand of all of the Noldor in the Blessed Realm. Fëanor made a better version of the runes that Rúmil made, and these were Tengwar, which the Elves used for all of their histories. The Tengwar Runes were also found on the Ring of Power that Sauron crafted in the Second Age. Fëanor was also the first to discover jewel-smithing, and the greatest gems ever made in the world were crafted by Fëanor. Fëanor, in his youth, wedded Nerdanel, the daughter of the smith Matan. Matan was most dear to Aule, the smith of the Valar, and Fëanor learned much from him. Nerdanel was more understanding than Fëanor was. While Fëanor's work was about control and mastery, Nerdanel was more devoted to counsel and guidance. Fëanor had 7 sons. Some of them were as controlling and dominant as their father, while some were more loving and caring like their mother. Finwë then committed an action that was unheard of and hated by Fëanor. Finwë took Indis the Fair as his second wife. It was already an insult to Fëanor that this took place at all. What made Fëanor even more bitter was that Finwë married outside of the Noldor. Finwë, however, still loved Fëanor the most of all of his family. Fëanor had no great love for Indis or for her sons Fingolfin and Finarfin. Fëanor dwelt in a different location than his brothers and made himself immensely busy and productive to stay away from them. Although the grievances of the Noldor that would come from this remarriage were great, Fingolfin and Finarfin did many great deeds of their own, and their children did even greater deeds in the realm of Arda. Melkor, the great enemy of the Valar and of Iluvatar, had served his time in prison. Manwë brought Melkor before the Ring of Doom. Melkor was envious, and he hated the children of Iluvatar. Most especially, he wanted the crafts of the Eldar for himself, and was jealous of the things that they made. He hid all of these feelings. Melkor surrendered himself and sued for pardon. Melkor vowed that if he was the least in Valinor, he would aid in everything the Valar did, and even heal his destructive acts committed against the world. Melkor over time was able to move freely about the Undying Lands, so much so that it seemed like his evil was cured. This assumption could never be more wrong. Of the Valar that were not deceived were Ulmo, the Lord of Waters, closest to the children of Iluvatar, and Tulkas, the everlasting foe of Melkor. These two, however, obeyed the ruling of Manwë. Melkor hated the Elves because he saw them as the reason for the Valar's wrath against him, and he hated their joy amidst his own downfall. He sought their friendship to corrupt them from within. He saw the Teleri as too weak for his purposes. The Vanyar never trusted him. The perfect target for all of his evil plans were the Noldor. The Noldor loved what he revealed to them. Melkor declared that Fëanor learned much from him in secret. He lied about this also. No being in the entire realm of Arda had ever hated Melkor more than Fëanor. Although Fëanor hated Melkor, Melkor's rumors still reached the heart of this very skilled and motivated elf. Many of the actions that Fëanor later committed could be traced back to the lies of Melkor. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like down below, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more lore videos. In the next episode, I think I'm going to go over the end of the Noontide of Valinor, and what leads to the downfall of the Undying Lands. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.